Hey everyone, Coach Stacy here with Coach Allie. We are on week 3 of creating a gym life balance. And this week, our fun topic is homework. Now, honestly, when you think about gym life balance and the struggles kids have, this is the topic. This is it. It's the how do they get their homework done in the midst of their busy gym schedule? It's the I don't get enough sleep for gym because I'm up too late doing my homework. Like, this is where the rubber meets the road. And so it's where we spend the most time with our gymnasts and where we have to be the most creative in helping them come up with solutions. So here's the thing, like, so many gymnasts they're type A perfectionistic kind of kids, but they're also usually very intelligent. And so a lot of them are going to, especially as they get into high school, they're going to be in AP classes. They're going to be, doing classes that help get them college credit. Very rarely are gymnasts going to be ones that are like, no, I'm just going to take all the easiest classes and just get through. Right? They're going to have the most intense, the most difficult school schedule of any of their peers. And they have the most intense, the most difficult after school schedule of any of their peers. Now, of course, this is talking about gymnasts who are probably going to public school, kids who are, doing homeschool so that then they have hours to do in the gym. Usually don't struggle with this quite as much, though it's still definitely a struggle. So, we are going to talk about this idea of the urge jar that we talked about a little bit at the beginning, the I didn't want to do it and I did it anyway jar. So Allie, you want to jump in and explain what that is?
Yeah. So whenever we talked about block scheduling, right? So we're going to put something on the schedule as a plan that we're going to do because our prefrontal cortex thinks that's what's best for us. So that's what we're going to do in the moment. Well, when we get to that, our brain's going to be like, excuse me, no, that's not easy. That's not fun. That's going to take too much energy. That's going to, all the things that come up. And so what we tend to do is listen to it. And I did it anyway jar is where when we hear those things, we acknowledge that it's saying that, but then we still do it anyways. We don't follow through with our brain being like, no, 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 no. We follow through with the plan that we made when we were thinking that we wanted what's best for us. And so, and I did it anyway jar is where you have a little jar and we had shiny objects we showed you for the last time, and you put the shiny object in the jar, and we do it specifically for homework this time. So it's like, I had it on my schedule. After gym, I was going to go home. I was going to eat. And at 8 p.m., I was going to start my homework for 30 minutes. And I was going to do it for 30 minutes. And then I was going to start my bedtime routine. And when it gets to that to 8:30 time, and our brain's like, no, 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 we're not doing that. We're going to scroll. We're going to watch Netflix. Maybe we'll just do that while we do homework. And we say, I hear you, but I know that this is what's best for me. Do it anyways. We get our little shiny object reward. And Stacy likes to tell you why the shiny object is so important. I know we have covered this, but I do like to repeat. This is actually something that is important that your brain is going to learn and grow from.
Yeah. So our brain loves two things. It loves to collect things. There's a dopamine hit that you get every time you add to your collection. This is why you get hoarders who like hoard a collection of things. But it's also why we enjoy collecting things of any kind. But when you enjoy or when you collect something, your brain gets a dopamine hit from that. And then anything that's like shiny, sparkly, aesthetically pleasing to you, your brain loves to collect that even more. So, we get those pretty jewels that you can get from Michael's, but you can just pick out something that, that kids love, or the kid can pick out something if they are doing this at home. But you can also be doing this in the gym where you could do like a homework challenge for the week. And so you just pick out something pretty. And the secret to it is that you are learning to not use willpower to do it anyways, but to allow the emotion to be there and do it anyways. And so the difference is when you're using willpower, you're resisting that emotion. So the emotion is usually, it's like, the thought is, I don't want to do it. So I guess maybe the emotion is resistance.
Annoyed. I get annoyed moments.
Yeah. Our brain gets really crafty with the reasons too. Like, you're too tired, you're not going to do a good enough job on this assignment. You need to wait until your brain's a little fresh, get a little sleep, wake up early in the morning and do it. Or, like, it's going to come up with all the reasons that you can't do it. But whatever that emotion is, it's usually going to be some sort of resistance emotion. We tend to want to try to just like push it away, white knuckle it. Here's the deal. Have you ever tried to like watch what you eat and you realize like at night is always the hardest?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just at night you're out of willpower. You've used it all. It's gone. You no longer have that store to pull out from. And so this is one of the reasons this is the hardest for your gymnasts, is because a lot of times they're getting home, they're physically tired, they're mentally tired, and then they're going to try to use willpower to get themselves to do homework. Not going to happen. They don't have any left. So what they want to do instead is learn that art of allowing an emotion to be there and not reacting to the emotion. And the reason this is great, because at the same time your kids are struggling with school and homework, they're probably, some of them are also struggling with getting some of those last skills that they need. And the ability to allow fear to be there and not react to it, and allow this whatever negative emotion, resistant, annoyed, to be there and not react to it, not take action from it, is the exact same tool. So Allie, you want to cover that again, just in brief, on how to allow an emotion to be there and not react to it?
Yeah. The first thing that we teach is actually to name the exact emotion. We've kind of been throwing things out there of like annoyed and resistant. And the reason that we kind of like narrow in on those things is because we're so taught to like name the exact emotion, because it's really helpful for you to be able to tune into your body and understand what each emotion feels like, because they all feel different, even when they're kind of similar. So scared and fear and terrified tend to all feel differently. And so that's why we were kind of throwing that around a lot there. But the first thing is like really just tuning in and being like, okay, what is the actual feeling I have right now? Use a feelings list, use a sheet. You can find them online. We have a bunch in our program. We have options for you. So look at it and really kind of put yourself into this and pick one. And then tune into what that actually feels like in your body. Be like, okay, I am feeling resistant right now. We'll go with resistant. I'm feeling resistant right now. What does this feel like in my body? Where am I feeling it? A lot of times we feel it like up in your shoulders get tight, or when your heart, you feel it in your chest, or you get that butterfly tight feeling in your stomach, right? So everybody, you're going to feel different emotions, different places. So where are you feeling it? And then tune into what it feels like. Is it moving? Is it still? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is it kind of like pulsing, or is it just kind of hanging out? Just what does it feel like, and allow it to be there. Okay. Stacy was saying that we resist emotions and we react to them, and we don't have to have all those symptoms of the emotion. The emotion itself is just that, let's say, tight, heavy, fast moving feeling in your shoulders. And when you can just allow it to be there and accept that that's what the emotion is and breathe into it, that's when you can be like, okay, I felt it. And it takes what, 90 seconds, Stacy?
Yeah.
Usually for a feeling to pass.
Those are usually like the more intense, deep feelings take 90 seconds. Simple ones, 20 maybe? I don't know. Simple.
Yeah. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Shocker, just like everything else in gymnastics. But it's just the idea of allowing it to be there. So when you can have this feeling of resistance when you're going to do your homework and allow it to be there, I mean, after you let it pass, doing your homework just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. We're not being like fighting it. We're just like, oh, I understand that this is how I'm feeling. I'm going to allow myself to feel that way. And then when you do it anyways, that's when you get the token. When you try and resist, you're not supposed to get the token anymore. The shiny object's not deserved.
But if you do it anyways and you do this practice, here's the double things. One, they're going to get their homework done a lot faster. They're going to follow their schedule. Two, they're going to learn the practice of allowing a negative emotion to be there and not reacting to it, which will help them so much in the gym. So we're going to go a little bit longer on telling you about the time management stuff, but I do want to put in a quick little, little info here. We're doing a whole bunch of training on this, on how to overcome fear, frustration, and failures in the gym. We know this is the time of year where a lot of kids start to panic that they don't have their skills. They're feeling frustrated because they didn't get to move up to the next level, or they feel like a failure, that they failed so many times at getting the skill, it's not going to be there. And so we really address that at this time of year. And we have 3 different trainings coming up. We have one for you, the coaches, in the last Wednesday of September. And then, so that's the 27th at noon Eastern. We're going to have a 1-hour training for you as coaches on this whole topic, how to overcome fear, frustration, and failure. So we're going to go a lot deeper into these, processing the emotion and all of the stuff we were just talking about. And then we're going to have a 2-hour training for your gymnasts, and they're going to be able to pick from 2 different times, October 7th. In the morning at 10 a.m. or October 8th, which so the 7th is a Saturday, the 8th is a Sunday. And then October 8th is at 6 p.m. These are all Eastern. And then we're going to have a training for moms on October 12th. We're going to have 2 different times, morning and evening. So just want to let you know all of that's coming up so that you can start to get the word out to your gymnasts. Like the reviews that we have on these trainings are so many 5-star reviews, that these trainings help so much. They're going to help your gymnast. They're going to help your mom. They're going to help you. And when all 3 of you are on the same page on this topic, it's going to make such a huge difference in your gym. So coming back to the time management part in the homework. So learning how to figure out your schedule and then do what you say you're going to do is an art that will help them forever. And so here's some ideas of ways that you can help them. First of all, it's helping them maybe think through when they are going to get their homework done. A lot of gymnasts that I sit down and work through, they're like, I get out of school, I drive to the gym, I have practice, I drive home, I eat, I do homework, I go to bed, I get up. That's every single day. I have the only time I have to do homework is after I get home, late in the evening. Now that tends to be the highest level gymnasts who are still doing public school, who travel. But there are a lot of those out there. And so helping them be creative, like for some of them, we've helped them think of like asking their teacher for the homework assignments ahead of time and getting them on Sunday, so that on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, they can spend the whole day knocking their homework out for the whole week. Then they don't have homework on the evenings. Getting their syllabus and planning ahead for any tests, any upcoming things they're going to need to study for. Again, getting that knocked out on the weekend. Some of them, it then gets into carpooling so that they're not the one driving, and that they can do their homework in the car if they don't get car sick.
Okay, side note, I did get car sick.
Yeah.
But I tried to find as many of my books on tape as possible. So I had to travel a half hour, but like half hour there and back, that's an hour in the car. Listening to a book on tape, you know how much you can get through in an hour? Quite a bit, actually. So a lot of times for like English classes and like those types of classes, I tried to get books on tape and do that in the car. And that was helpful. And it's kind of relaxing. You can like listen, but not like use full brain power. That was a win for me.
I like that. And the nice thing is sometimes you can put those things on like 1 1/4 speed, 1 1/2 speed, and get through it even faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't have that when I was
but
technology,
how it's changed.
I'm not even that old.
I know.
I didn't in high school. If I did, I didn't know about it.
Yeah. So those are some ideas, but going with that, there is the reality that for a lot of the kids, their schedule is very difficult. I coach, directors of large teams whose schedule is not that much, the gymnast schedule is about as difficult as theirs is to find time to do all the stuff, to have time for free time, to have time for rest, to have time for homework, to have time for health, get enough sleep. Your gymnasts need a lot of sleep. We'll talk about that next week. So Allie, ideas on how to help with that reality.
I think that the first things first is just, I think, being open about it in a way of just being like, as a coach, I do understand you have a busy schedule. I feel like sometimes it's like, well, we've been able to do it. You should be able to do it. And like, we used to walk uphill both ways to school. I'm just kidding. But you get my point where like sometimes we're not sympathetic or empathetic. I always mix those up to their situation because we did make it through. But we also need to remember that it was hard. I mean, I listened to books on tape just so I could try and get homework done on time. So just like having that reality check of like, okay, I did get through it, but it was hard. So even like saying that to them, being like, I understand right now it's really hard. You're going to be able to make it through. And just like having that conversation, I think is helpful. Two, I think that it's just really helpful to start when you see a girl that's clearly struggling, they've had a bad day, you think they haven't slept enough, you're not sure if they ate enough. We all know who we're talking about here, right? Like it happens. And just being able to like ask, like, okay, are we struggling right now because of sleep, because of school, because of gym? Like, where are we at, or relationships? And like sometimes they'll just be like, and most of the time, school, I just have so much homework. And just being like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how like hard does your like homework load feel right now? And if they give you a super high number, the reality is they're probably so stressed that they're not going to be able to focus on what they're doing anyways. And just sometimes being able to make adjustments for them, let them, do a little bit more basics, let them take some time to do their homework during practice, let them, especially like if we're at a time where they're killing it on beam, but they're behind on vault, be like, okay, let's try and get in 5 good vaults when we go to beam. Why don't you head out and do some of your homework? Just like trying to really like work with them. And if it's all the time, obviously that's a different problem. That's conversations with parents and girls and coaches and working through that. But just like I think it's important for you as a coach to be aware and to ask the questions and be able to help. Stacy had an idea as well about like a homework pass. Do you want to kind of?
Yeah, like figure out a like, and maybe you only use this for your kids that are older or something like that. But like, you get 4 homework passes a semester. And so each, and there's no questions asked. You can use them any day you want, no matter when. And you get 4 a semester where you can just be like, I have too much homework. I'm too overwhelmed. I can't come in today. And they just can give you a homework pass. I don't know if 4 is the right number. That I just picked that number out of the blue. So.
But I like the idea because it takes the drama out and allows them to, be like, is this so much homework today that I feel like I need to do this?
Yeah.
And they will learn. They're going to have a time where they use them up and then they'll need it later. And then it's just like anything, be like, oh crap. Like and the reality is, right, they make those choices with their parents, but it's just like a good drama-free way of giving them a little bit more control over their schedule because maybe next time they're like, oh, I'm going to take a homework pass. And they're usually mad they have to miss practice for homework. It's not like they're like,
be at practice than do
it. So if it's not something that they like, so usually when they use it that they truly need it, unless they're dealing with other things. But once again, you understand that as a coach. So our point is, it is not your job to schedule their homework for them, right? Like they should be scheduling their homework. They should be working with their parents on their schedule, but it is your job, in my opinion, to be able to check in on them and see how it's going. And then maybe if they are struggling with that, helping them get to those resources and get the help that they need for that. But you're going to have a hard time sitting down in the gym and scheduling their entire homework schedule when you're trying to get practice done. So just a few things to throw out there of what you can do as a coach and what considerations to kind of have as you move forward.
And this is what we do in our program in kind of that way. So you don't have to, is that we sit down and we literally in our one-on-one times with them, help them figure out their schedule and try to figure out when to do the homework and then work through why they can't get it done and what's the struggle. The last part of that is just they're perfectionists. most of the kids that I've sat down and done the one-on-one time with, one of the biggest reasons that they've struggled is honestly because they're being so perfectionistic about their homework. It's taking 2 to 3 times as long as it needs to. So I will say that when I first started sitting down and working with them on that, and they just said, well, this is how long it takes me to do their homework, I just was like, I just bought it. I was like, oh, okay, that's how long it takes you. You know, they were like, well, it takes me 3 hours to do my homework every night. And I'm like, gosh, that is a lot of time to do homework. But like, okay, that just must be how much homework they got. And then when I started like asking more questions and diving into it with them, I realized like one of my gymnasts redid his every assignment 5 times before he turned it in. Another one of my gymnasts rewrote her notes that she used for studying 3 times to make sure they were perfect penmanship. She didn't like typing them. She wanted them to be penmanship. So she wrote a draft and then another. And these were just of the notes that she was going to study with. And so I do end up working often with gymnasts on helping them deal with the perfectionism of like giving themselves a time. 45 minutes is usually the most that I start with, and say they have to get their homework done in 45 minutes. And it helps them deal with that. And that can help them a lot in the gym too, because it can be the same that, you know, the kid that like Simone Biles actually just did an interview in her interview at nationals. She said, when I was younger, I didn't use my time well in the gym, and I would like put off doing my things and put off doing things, and Bar's assignment would take forever. She's like, now I get in and I'm off in 25 minutes. Like I get the work done. I get my assignment done. I don't mess around with it. And that's actually the reality, that a lot of times in the gym, they could get their assignments done a lot more quickly if they learn to be more efficient and less perfectionistic. So just something to watch out for. All right. Next week, we are going to talk about health, sleep, and food. So tune in and hope to see you at our coaches clinic at the end of the month. Bye.